Florida residents prepare for Storm Elsa as it makes its way to the U.S. Local fireworks sellers tell us if concerns over shortages affected them this holiday weekend. A food desert no more. A new grocery store in southeast Kansas gives a community easy access to food.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Tropical storm Elsa now heads for Florida after making landfall on the south coast of Cuba today. This is KOAM News at 10. Florida residents are already preparing. Reporter Bradley Blackburn has details.
Heavy rain fell in Cuba as Elsa made landfall, bringing floods to some areas. 180,000 residents were evacuated, possibly complicating the fight against COVID-19. Over the weekend, Elsa hit the Dominican Republic, killing at least 2 people. It was a Category 1 hurricane until Saturday morning when it weakened, the first hurricane of the Atlantic season. The storm's predicted track to South Florida prompted the demolition of the partially collapsed condo building in Surfside, where teams are still searching for victims.
We are, at least in terms of the Surfside with this storm Elsa, the news is pretty good, pretty positive.
Governor Ron DeSantis revised an executive order declaring a state of emergency as the storm's path shifted north, though even the skies over Dade County were darkening.
If you do not need to be out tonight, please try to stay home to avoid any potentially dangerous conditions on the roads.
Elsa is first expected to bring winds and rain to the Keys, where residents with boats prepared.
I just don't want it to be messy, so everybody's quietly tightening up their lines and doing all their little repairs. I didn't anticipate a storm this early in the season.
Elsa is forecast to make landfall north of Tampa by Wednesday. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Elsa is also blamed for 1 death on St. Lucia. Millions of Americans across the nation gathered over the weekend for a 4th of July that looked much different than last year's. President Biden hosted a celebration of around 1,000 frontline workers, service members, and their families, his largest gathering since taking office. During the event, he sounded the alarm on the rise of the more contagious Delta variant of COVID, which now makes up more than a quarter of all new COVID cases nationwide.
Today, we are closer than ever to declaring our independence from a deadly virus. That's not to say the battle against COVID-19 is over.
The White House says it's prepared to mobilize surge teams to parts of the country with higher rates of vaccine hesitancy. Another pleasant evening out there, Doug Heddy.
Yeah, pretty good day for us today as we did go into the upper 80s for afternoon highs. At least the humidity still not that bad. 64, 87 were the numbers today, and we're going to tack on a notch or 2 as we go into tomorrow. But clear skies, nothing is going on outside for us. In fact, most of the Central Plains look pretty good. You got the monsoon season out to the west, and then our next little wave out across the northern parts of really the Rockies into the western high plains. Temps right now sitting into the mid 70s. We'll drop back mid 60s later on tonight, about 65 degrees, 75 by 10, up to 83 by noon. And then I think during the afternoon, we'll get close to about 90 degrees. We are going to have some rain chances this week. It's going to be warm. Of course, we're going to look at the forecast coming up here in just a bit.
All right, catch you then. Our country may have been dealing with fireworks shortage this year, but some Joplin area sellers had record-breaking sales. Sellers include the Watered Gardens Fireworks Tent, which raises money for their Forge program. It's a program that helps people down on their luck get back on their feet with employment, shelter, and more. Watered Garden says they saw a 60% increase in sales over last year, and their supplier, Military Fireworks, also had a record-breaking year.
This was our so far our highest grossing year out of all the years that we've been in business.
Military Fireworks says the secret to their success during a shortage was simply ordering their fireworks early. They say they order fireworks from China about a year in advance and will continue to do so. Humboldt, Kansas used to be classified as a food desert because of a lack of a grocery store, but recent opening has changed that. The new grocery store named Our Market took over the location of the old Moon's hometown market, which closed more than a year ago. Our Market is a family-owned store that's trying to provide fresh, local products. The owners say they saw more than 300 customers on their opening day.
I hear people having conversations in the aisleways and talking, like they're just getting to see their neighbors and catching up, and that's been the best part of it. Having kids, daycares have come in here for their field trips already, to pick up their little snacks, and it's been a lot of fun just to see the community come together. It's been amazing.
Our Market opened July 1st, but they'll host their grand opening, the official event, this coming Saturday. 2 people died in separate Northeast Oklahoma crashes on the 4th of July. One was on West 100 Road, northeast of Copen, Oklahoma. The Highway Patrol says 29-year-old Ethan Smith of Caney, Kansas was killed when the pickup he was driving hit a bridge, went off the road, and struck a tree. The other crash was on US 59 south of Jay, Oklahoma, late last night. The Highway Patrol says 45-year-old Ricky Greenfeather of Veneta was driving a motorcycle that went off the road at a curve and hit a sign. Greenfeather died at the scene. A passenger on the motorcycle, 46-year-old Amy Rico of Grove, Oklahoma, was flown by helicopter to a Joplin hospital, then treated and released. Rockabilly and country performer and Tulsa native Sanford Clark has died of COVID-19 at age 85. Clark's publicist and fellow performer Johnny Vallis said Clark died yesterday in Mercy Hospital in Joplin, where he had been receiving cancer treatment before he contracted the coronavirus. Clark was born in 1935 in Tulsa and raised in Phoenix, where he began performing in the early 1950s. His hit song, The Fool, reached number 7 on the Billboard Top 100. The song was later recorded by several other well-known artists, including Elvis Presley and The Animals. Coming up, we're going to have more on the demolition of the partially collapsed building in Florida, setting up crews to expand their search for survivors. And Tyson Food recalls millions of pounds of chicken products. We're going to tell you what you need to throw out.
Don't miss Ashley Home Store's Stars.
Pope Francis is doing well after undergoing scheduled intestinal surgery yesterday to remove half of his colon. The 84-year-old pontiff is expected to remain hospitalized for about a week. A Vatican spokesman says the Pope is in good condition and alert. 3 more bodies were pulled from the rubble of the Surfside building collapse. Searching resumed today after, as we said, crews used explosives to bring down what remained standing after that collapse. Manuel Bajorquez reports from Surfside, Florida.
Rescue workers resumed climbing mounds of debris at the site of the collapsed condo in Surfside, after explosives were used to bring down the last remaining section of the complex.
They were on that pile that had been difficult for them to access, and so they're making a lot of progress.
As teams expanded their search to areas that were previously inaccessible because of safety reasons, they discovered more bodies in the rubble.
Since the first responders were able to resume their work on the collapse last night, we have very sadly recovered 3 additional victims.
Tropical storm Elsa partly prompted the demolition. Experts were concerned the rain and wind could crash the remaining section of the building.
These showers and thunderstorms will have some brief but gusty winds, and these winds could still be quite strong.
12 days after the collapse, officials acknowledge tearing down the high-rise marks another painful chapter for families.
The weight of that building coming down, those buildings coming down, is on this entire community. And it's been a long ride for us.
Destroying the building will also affect the investigation.
It'll complicate it some because we will have to do it from new debris rather than from what's standing in the air.
Officials say teams of scientists and engineers were able to take pictures of the structure before it was brought down Sunday and conduct interviews for what's expected to be a long and difficult investigation. Manuel Bajorquez, CBS News, Surfside, Florida.
At least 27 people are now confirmed dead following that condo collapse, and 118 are still missing. Amazon has a new CEO. After more than 25 years, Jeff Bezos stepped down today as the company's CEO, and Jassy, Amazon's boss, Andy Jassy, Amazon's boss of cloud computing, took over the reins. Bezos says July 5th holds a special place in his heart because it's the day Amazon was incorporated back in 1994. He'll transition to executive chairman of Amazon's board and is expected to work more on his other business endeavors like his Earth Fund and the Blue Origin space travel company. Tyson Foods is recalling millions of pounds of chicken products. The USDA says nearly 8.5 million pounds of Tyson chicken were possibly contaminated with listeria. Among the frozen, fully cooked chicken products being recalled are Tyson pulled chicken breast, Tyson fully cooked diced chicken, grilled chicken breast with rib meat, Tyson fully cooked char-broiled boneless chicken meat for fajitas, as well as others. The contaminated items were made between December 26th of 2020 and April 13th of this year. Lower exposure to ultraviolet B light from the sun may be associated with an increased risk of colorectal cancer. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego say the link was significant, particularly in older age groups. They suggest a lower UVB exposure may reduce levels of vitamin D, which has previously been associated with an increased risk of colorectal cancer. Researchers in Spain find links between eating organic food and higher levels of intelligence in children. A study published in Environmental International says kids who eat organic raised food had better fluid intelligence in solving reasoning problems and retaining new information. They had fast food diets hurt academic achievement. Scientists studied about 1,300 children all across Europe and also considered environmental factors. Later, history buffs head to the Fort Scott Historic Site as the Independence Day celebrations there continue.
Also, some thunderstorm chances for us this week. We're going to look at the week forecast coming up next. Well, it definitely turned out to be a fantastic holiday weekend. We had great temperatures. It was warm, but it's July, and at least the humidity wasn't that bad as we went through the past few days. It is going to be warm, kind of teetering with hot all week long this week, and we are going to have some chances for scattered showers and thunderstorms. This is going to be on Wednesday, and then again, as we head into the weekend, chances for showers and thunderstorms. Of course, you can always get my long-range forecast. That's my month-long blog. That's on KOAMnewsnow.com. Checking out Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Great time lapse for us today. We had the cumulus clouds kind of pop up during the afternoon, but a dry day, and it turned out to be a pretty good day. Temperatures have been great. We dropped back into the mid-60s earlier this morning, and then we went back into the upper 80s during the afternoon hours. Temps pretty good. Right now, most of us low to mid 70s. I think we'll drop back mid 60s later on tonight. Humidity overall isn't bad. It's not as good as it was Friday and Saturday. It's creeped up some. We're kind of in that sticky range right now, and it will start to come up a little bit as we go through the next couple days. Outside, 7th and Rangeline currently sitting 75, dew point 65, relative humidity at 71%, but you can see nothing's going on. The radar is nice and clear across the entire four-state area. In fact, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and also Oklahoma all look pretty good. Everybody is dry. Here's our next little wave. This is going to start to affect us late Wednesday into Wednesday night, giving us some chances for showers and thunderstorms. Until then, we look okay. Let's drop south. This little system right here is Tropical Storm Elsa, which has weakened a little bit for us today, just due to it kind of sitting on Cuba most of the day. Once it gets out into the ocean waters, it will strengthen a little bit. Should mainly stay a tropical storm. It's going to kind of ride up the western coast of Florida, kind of just clipping Tampa and then making landfall by the time we head into Wednesday morning. Main threats with Elsa is going to be just heavy amounts of rain, maybe a little bit of high sea surge, and that should be about it. For us, we look okay tonight, mid-60s. Let's go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow. We'll stop in the afternoon. I think most of us will be upper 80s to near 90. Here's your forecast for tomorrow. 65 in the morning, 83 by noon, high temp of 89 during the afternoon. Evening looks great. Let's go through the overnight hours tomorrow night. We'll stop on Wednesday morning, partly cloudy skies. Wednesday afternoon, we're going to get some pop-up thunderstorms. Some of these could be strong, but they are going to be very scattered. This is not going to be a wall of rain, but scattered thunderstorms across the region. Then once this system passes through, Thursday, the humidity drops back a little bit again. Then we kind of start to heat back up again as we head into Friday afternoon. Then chances for thunderstorms are going to return by the time we head into the weekend. But all in all, not a bad week. All right, 89 tomorrow, 90 on Wednesday, 88 on Thursday, 93, kind of hot on Friday. Temperatures do cool down a bit with another cold front with those scattered thunderstorms over the weekend.
Unusual to see so many storm chances this time of year.
We'll take it in July.
You bet. Thanks, Doug. Millions of Americans, of course, celebrated Independence Day yesterday. Some organizations kept the festivities going today. Fort Scott National Historic Site hosted a discussion about small arms and had guided tours around the fort. There was also a photo exhibit looking at the history of combat photography.
Visitors to experience the park more, go in a little more depth instead of just reading the signs, which is definitely beneficial as well. There's lots of great wayside exhibits, but I think they can have a better understanding of what was going on here. And it really is just an honor to share those stories and the history with visitors.
Fort also hosted events over the weekend, including artillery demonstrations. Coming up, the Cardinals begin a tough road series against the best team in baseball. And the Outlaws kick off a 3-game homestand. Danny Terzer has details next.
The Joplin Outlaws are back in action at home for a division matchup against the Nevada Griffins. It's the first of 10 straight division games for the Outlaws. They currently sit in first place in the South with a 10-9 record. Joplin is 0-2 against Nevada this season with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Logan Klein, he goes deep to left over the fence for a solo home run. Outlaws lead 1-0. Same inning, Caleb Fearstake knocks it in over the shortstop's head for a base hit. And then he takes off and steals second, advancing to third on the error. He will be left stranded there. In the second, Cale McAllister gets the strikeout for the third out, and the Outlaws keep their lead. Nevada, though, comes back to win it in extras, 4-3 the final. We're halfway through the Major League Baseball season, and the Cardinals are 10 games back. Today they continue a road trip visiting the #1 team in baseball. Series opener here against the Giants. Scoreless in the 6th, Edmundo Sosa goes down the line. Wilmer Flores is there with a lightning fast reaction, makes the stop and the throw to first for the out. Next inning, Cards break through here. Nolan Arenado gets the Cards' first hit of the game into left. And later, 2 on, Matt Carpenter goes deep, just misses the homer off the wall. Still 2-run score for St. Louis. Carpenter will land on third. Cards hang on, big road win as they take down the Giants 5-3. The Royals are looking to get back in the win column today, hosting the Reds. The Reds take a late lead with a 4-run 7th inning, and they win it 6-2. Carlos Santana and Jorge Soler with RBI doubles for the Royals. Heading into a break in their schedule, Sporting Kansas City sits at the top of the MLS standings. A 2-0 win on Sunday night against a good LA Galaxy team earns Sporting Kansas City the first place spot in the MLS. The club has 26 points with an 8-3-2 record. Sporting Kansas City enters a 2-week break in their schedule, returning to the pitch on the 21st against San Jose. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Robin Dennison served in the U.S. Navy in 1983. The Carthage, Missouri native was stationed in Beirut, and we salute electronics technician 2nd class Robin Dennison, a 4-state hero. The first cruise ship to leave a U.S. port since the pandemic started wrapped up and returned to Fort Lauderdale over the weekend. But the ship had another distinction, its groundbreaking captain. Reporter Janet Shamlian met her at sea.
Tell me what you see. When she's not charting course on the bridge of the Celebrity Edge.
How are you?
You might find Captain Kate McHugh just about anywhere on board. even officiating an at-sea wedding.
I, Bradley, take you outward.
McHugh was at the helm of this week's historic cruise, the first leaving a U.S. port since the pandemic. She's also the first American woman to ever captain a mega cruise ship.
You dreamed about this as a child. Was this the goal?
This was the end result of dreaming since I was 12 years old when my parents took me on my very first cruise.
TV's big hit, The Love Boat, had her yearning to be cruise director, the only woman she saw in a position of authority.
My dad said, you can do anything you want in the world, including drive the thing, and that was the seed that was planted.
Hi there. McHugh has become somewhat of a celebrity in the cruising world, but maybe an even bigger star off the ship. More than 2 million TikTok followers. She travels the world with her hairless Sphinx.
Look at the camera.
Bug Naked is a star in her own right. 50,000 Instagram fans.
So how many bow thrusters do you think we're going to have for departure?
The captain already inspiring officers like these. During the pandemic, McHugh spent 318 days aboard the Edge, her relief unable to reach the vessel. Now, with passengers back on board, there's no place she'd rather be. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, at sea, aboard the Celebrity Edge.
Interesting story, interesting woman. We all kind of winced a little bit at the hairless cat.
Yeah, it was a great story until I saw that thing.
I guess if you're allergic to cat hair or dander,
Can you imagine waking up in the middle of the night seeing that in front of your face?
No, I don't care to imagine the weather.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Most of the week, we're going to be near 90 tomorrow. The humidity is going to creep up a bit. Chances for some scattered thunderstorms on Wednesday, and then again this coming weekend, which kind of stinks, but we just got done with a great holiday weekend.
Yeah. Danny, how about a final sports note?
Big win for the Cardinals on the road against the Giants, that to open up the series.
Yeah, it's the best team in baseball. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service is provided by the